Hello. Today we'll be talking about the Industrial Revolution. This name refers to a period of transition in the modern world, from the rural, manual economy of the pre-1700s to the much more automated structure on show today, or at least the primary portion of it. The Industrial Revolution began in Britain in the agricultural industry. In 1700, the British landscape was dotted with small farms. This, though, was soon to change, as the wealthier landowners began to purchase and consolidate land. With more land came more profits, and with that revenue, these farmers experimented and developed more efficient techniques, which would further boost their income. This had the effect of speeding up innovation in the industry, as well as forcing smaller farmers into becoming tenant farmers, or leaving the profession altogether, and moving to the city for new work. The innovation produced less wasteful and therefore more profitable methods of growing food, such as the seed drill, a more efficient form of sowing seeds, or crop rotation, practice of altering which crops are grown in which field, so as to not attempt to have plants grow in soil which has already been exhausted of the nutrients that said plants need. The agricultural industry, however, was not the only one to improve itself. The urge to increase profits through more efficient use of resources drove a development in others as well. This increase in the food supply spurred a quality of life improvement for many people, and England's population vastly increased. With more people came more demand, not only for food, but also for clothes and other products necessary for life. These needs were provided for by the farmers who lost their jobs due to the wealthy landowners who purchased their land. As demand increased dramatically, so too did the need for efficient production. Improvements in industry were invented and employed more and more prolifically. The textile industry was perhaps the one in need of most automation, and in a series of improvements, the loom, operated by a weaver, was transformed steadily to a more and more water-powered design, which ultimately required no operator. The greatly increased manufacturing speeds of this new loom required much more yarn than the earlier, slower methods, and with the incentive of a cash prize to be awarded to the inventor of a quicker spinning wheel, one was soon developed. These machines, though, in their size, cost, and requirement of running water to power them, were unreachable for the average person, and so the textile industry moved towards a position where large factories, built by a river, were the main producers. With more goods being manufactured, there came a greater demand for transportation of those goods. This new need spurred a search for a source of power which could propel machines on land or water, as well as operate machines in factories as an alternative to water power which required a river. The solution came in the form of a steam engine. This invention was already in use in the form of a steam-powered pump which transported water from deep mine shafts, but this pump was very inefficient in its fuel usage, and so was improved upon, allowing the machine to be more properly utilized in other areas of production. Shortly afterwards, a steam-powered boat called the Clermont made its first successful trip. The successes of water transport were aided through the creation of canals for better water access, and these advancements greatly reduced the cost of transportation. Overland travel also made progress during the Industrial Revolution. Roads were improved through the use of a layer of large stones that could drain away water, with another layer, this one composed of crushed and smoothed rock, on top. These, as everything, were soon operated for profit. In addition to the improvements made to standard overland transport, a new method of accomplishing much the same thing was developed, which utilized the exciting fanciness of the steam engine. Steam locomotives had arrived on the scene, and from 1804 onwards they steadily improved and spread. As with the other forms of transportation, railroads cut the price of moving goods from here to here, and so advanced the March of Industrialization. On top of that, the new railroad industry created many new jobs for railroad workers and miners, and allowed people to work further from where they lived by making travel easier. However, though the advancements previously discussed were undoubtedly impressive, they also had some profound disadvantages. For example, the growth of factories relied heavily on child labor, the successes of the textile industry required an increased supply of cotton, which was grown and harvested by slaves in the United States, and the new forms of steam power all needed a supply of coal and iron, both of which requiring dangerous digging to acquire, and one of which producing nasty chemicals for the atmosphere when burnt. But along with these, there were some other effects. The industrialization spurred on urbanization and the development of a middle and working class. The cheapening and abundance of products did eventually lead to better living conditions for many, though factory workers and child laborers faced horrible situations in both their homes and work until regulations caught up with capitalism. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, the Industrial Revolution did begin in Britain, but over time, jealousy of success, and in some cases war, drove other countries to follow their footsteps. This process of steady improvement to the end of monetary gain, and the need to repeat what others are doing close by in order to remain competitive, ultimately drove us to the position we are in today, and continues to drive us forward, but with the unfortunately common side effect of mistreating people wherever it may be profitable.